Hi guys, and welcome to my regular viewers, and hello to any new ones who might be watching this video. Okay, we're going to have a quick look at some of my tips. So Rommel's Love Trials, World of Tanks tips, and some of the do's and the don'ts of World of Tanks. Some things to avoid, some things to do. So, first newbie tips. Go through the tutorial battle, that very first battle, as many times as it takes until you can drive the tank without crashing into things and like going in a zigzag pattern. That'll greatly help you, and also when you're playing a real game, it'll stop you pissing off your teammates when you're crashing into them all the time. Number 2, play the proving grounds until you can fight on the move and you're used to that, going behind cover and being under fire. And stay in Tier 1 until you're comfortable with the controls and the basic strategy of the game. Okay, until you're making kills in most games and you're not getting smashed all the time. There's no harm in it, there's nothing wrong with it. You shouldn't feel bad about staying in Tier 1. At the same time as well, you shouldn't feel that you've got to push up and make a big dash to the Tier 10s. It's not that great. You can have some really good fun games in Tier 1 as well. Do these things. Ask for advice. Use the minimap. Okay, this is really important. It can make or break your game. If you use the minimap well, then you know where the enemy's coming, where your flank's weak, where you're strong, where to push, and so on like that. And you can really change a game by using the minimap well. On the other hand, if you ignore it, you're gonna find your team is in trouble, especially if the rest of your team's ignoring it. You're not gonna know where the enemy are. You're gonna be surprised when they come round and give you surprise butt sex. Work as a team. Very important. No use being an individual and going off in charge and trying to do your own thing. Try and back up your teammates. If you see a teammate and he's in a one-on-one battle with another tank, go over there, take out their tank together. He may take damage, you may take damage, but tell you what, it's better that both of you are on half health and you've got two tanks as opposed to him being dead, you being alive. Don'ts. Don't shoot at or near your teammates. You often see this in the lower tiers. At the beginning of the battles, I don't know why people do it. It's kind of like, I've got a gun, look, I can shoot near you, ooh, be scared. Don't do that. One thing, really irritating. Number 2, you might accidentally hit them, which often happens. And even if you don't damage them, you can track them, which then means that they're not going to get to the battlefront quite so quickly. Their track's going to be damaged, and the maneuverability is going to be harmed, and it's more likely they're going to get tracked again. Don't do it, it's just a really stupid thing to do. Likewise, don't shoot randomly at the start. Again, I get the impression that people who shoot randomly in the sky are kind of like, hey, look, I've got a gun, I can shoot things, kind of attitude. You don't want to be that guy. Don't charge off by yourself and get killed, okay? If you do that, if you go running off, especially if you're in a fast tank, you go running off at the beginning of the game, charge forwards to the enemy, blast a few of them, spot a few of them, do a little bit of damage, you'll quickly die. Then especially if you do that, don't rage that your team didn't help you. Don't be like, oh, where were you guys, why weren't you backing me up? And it's like, well, not every tank's quite as suicidal as you, or as fast as you. Play sensibly, play safely. Okay, and last one, related to that, don't camp behind a rock at the back of the base where you can't help. If you do that thinking, oh yeah, I'll be base defense if anyone comes to the base, the chances are your team is going to get killed because one tank can make a difference. And if they get killed, your team ends up losing 14-7. That means you're the last tank on your team. There's 8 of them. Doesn't matter how good your defensive position is, there's only going to be one outcome, isn't there? Do use cover. Hide your tank behind something, poke out, shoot out, try and minimise the amount of tank that you're exposing to the enemy at one time when you're firing. Won't help massively necessarily, but it will help a bit. Stay alive. Likewise, you're more used to the team alive than you are dead. You can do damage that way, so try and stay alive for as long as possible. It's underrated. Retreat if outnumbered, related to the one just above. If you're heavily outnumbered, there is no point you trying to be the brave last stand man and shoot them all out. Retreat, fall back to where you've got cover and support. That way, you and 2 or 3 tanks can work together. Even if it's 2 tanks against 5, that's better than 1 tank against 5, isn't it? You're more likely to take some of them out. And in that situation, you really need to focus your fire on 1 tank until he's killed, then move on to the next one. Don't blame your team, the enemy, the gods, your dog, the weather, whatever else for your death, in the chat especially. Accept responsibility. Sometimes it happens, you might have made a mistake, or your enemy might just be shit hot. Either way, don't go and rage about it. Don't accuse other people of cheating in the same way. I see this all the time. I'm playing a game and like, oh, Ramos love child hacks. No, I shot you. You decided to drive across the middle of an open area. I was sitting in a bush waiting nearby. I just let you drive into my targeted area, pull the trigger, side armor, 1 shot, dead. Next. Don't also, this is quite a good one, don't retrain your tier 1 crews in your tier 2 tank. Okay, I wouldn't advise you do this unless you intend to keep that tank, because you probably, your tier 1 crews are 100% trained, and you're probably not going to be in tier 2 very long. You can get through a tier 2 tank in like 5 or 6 battles, and then move on to tier 3. When you're in tier 3, you can then retrain it to 75% or whatever. The reason for that is, you've got your crew skills, which will come on to another video, and your crew skills will keep improving even if your crew isn't trained for that tank. So if I've say got my LTR tier 1 crew, I move them into like the Panzer II tank, I don't retrain them, you'll see that they're 75 and they're in red, 75% trained, and they're in red because they're not trained at that tank. My crew skills like camouflage will still increase every battle I do. Not quite as quickly, but they will still increase. Then when I move on to tier 3, where I'm expecting to be a bit longer, or maybe even tier 4, I can then retrain the crews. They will go to 75%, they will have a good crew skill, and then I can work it up again. Do pick a good player to watch after you die in a battle. Watch them. What do they do? How do they cope? How have they managed to rack themselves up 7 kills? Make friends. Always fun. And take time to figure out your playing style as well. Whether you're more of an aggressive type, you like charging, leading the front, getting involved in those quick battles, or whether you like sitting at the back and playing the sniper and blowing people away. Have fun. Most important thing. It's a game. We're there to have fun. And also, last of all, remember to like, subscribe and share this video. Leave a comment too if you enjoyed it and what you'd like to see next. Alright, thank you very much.